Welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain Fighting Beat. This movie tells the story of the struggle of a Muay Thai expert and his friends in reclaiming the guest lounge that had been stolen by rich people from other cities. Will they be able to fight back and reclaim their important place? Let's find out in Fighting Beat. The story begins with a scene when a young man named Kem wakes up. Kem is an orphan who was raised in a temple by a monk named Wang Pu. That morning, Kem started his routine activities by accompanying Wang Pu to make offerings by sowing flowers in the river. In the afternoon, Kem continued his activities by working as a tourist guide on a ship with his friends. First, there is an old man with a mustache named Guide who is in charge of bringing customers or tourists to the ship. Then there's his friend Chai, a muscular black man who often helps repair boats and guides tourists. Meanwhile, his two female friends, Dao and Duan, are sisters who help entertain tourists who sail on their ships. And lastly, there is another bald-headed man named Yi, who usually guides tourists for diving or fishing activities. While Kem himself was in charge of steering the ship and navigating the ship. Kem and his friends have lived in the tourist area for a long time and have been friends since they were children. In the evening, after finishing guiding the tourists, Kem and his friends work in a guest lounge owned by Dao and Duan's father, Uncle Prao. Kem works there to give fighting shows to tourists. At the bar, Kem and Chai served as fighters against the tourists. Here, actually, Kem and Chai just pretend to fight to be able to make the tourists win and feel happy because they managed to beat them. In addition, by pretending to be defeated and injured, they can get money from tourists as payment for the cost of going to the hospital. That night, it was Chai's turn to be on duty to become the tourists' opponents in the first round. Chai often shows how to fight funnily. Then in the second round, Kem served as a fighting opponent. Kem had a strong martial arts foundation and a very fit physique that he could actually easily defeat the tourists. But Kem had to keep up with his job of pretending to lose in order to earn money from the tourists. Kem chose to fight defensively to make it look like he had completely lost the fight. After the bar closes, Uncle Prao will share the fighting match money with Kem and Chai. Every week, Uncle Prao will teach Kem, Chai, Dao, and Duan Chaya boxing martial arts. Chaya boxing is a martial art that has been passed down from generation to generation from Uncle Prao's ancestors. He deliberately taught Kem and his friends this martial art so that they could take care of themselves in case of danger. The scene switches to the moment when Wang Pu is sick, and Kem has to take care of him. When Kem was taking care of the monk, suddenly Kem remembered memories from his past when he was a child. The scene goes back in time when Kem and Dao were playing together on the beach, but suddenly, a middle-aged man named Art grabbed Dao and almost raped her. Kem's father, who happened to be there, immediately saves Dao and fights Art. Unfortunately, his father had to die because Art stabbed him with a broken glass bottle. At that time, Kem had to witness the death of his own father, so that the incident left a very deep trauma and pain for Kem. The next day, Kem was forced to be absent from the bar because he had to take care of Wang Pu. He then asked Dao for help in persuading her father to let him go home early that evening. Dao is happy to help Kem because Dao actually has feelings for Kem. Meanwhile, Chai was busy teasing the girls at the bar to have fun with him. At night, the bar put on another fighting show. As usual, the crowds cheered loudly. Visitors keep coming because of the lively atmosphere and full of fun. Not long after, a group of men in singlets and tattoos came and ordered drinks while observing the fighting show. The next morning, a healer named Prong and his assistant, Pong, came to check on the health condition of Wang Pu. Fortunately, Wang Pu's condition was getting better and was able to return to his usual activities the next day. That evening, Kem told Chai to immediately dismiss the customers because it was time for the bar to close. However, there were some customers who were stubborn and didn't want to leave even though Chai had politely asked them to leave. Fights between Chai and the customers were unavoidable. Even though Chai has to face 3 customers at once, with his strong body and martial skills, he can defeat the 3 customers easily. After Uncle Prao found out about the fight, he immediately stopped them by warning the customer with his firearm. The next day, the group of tattooed men came back to visit the bar. They came to see the fighting show. They turned out to be a group of city men who were observing Uncle Prao's bar and then buying it from him. They planned to turn the bar into a more modern martial arts training center. Their group was led by a young man named David. David deliberately ordered his members to participate in the fight that night and show the real fight. After that, he found out who the bar owner was to make an offer. When David managed to meet with Uncle Prao, David immediately asked how much the bar was currently running. But Uncle Prao never intended to sell his bar to anyone. Unable to find an agreement, David and his gang use a battle challenge to take Uncle Prow's place.
Little baby, where? Now.
Kem and Chai have no other choice but to fight against the gang members from David. In the first round, Chai had to face one of David's short gang members. Chai could easily beat the guy because of his bigger body size than the guy. But Chai's next opponent was a tall, big-muscled man much stronger than Chai, and it is very difficult when he had to fight the man. Fortunately, Kem immediately helped Chai and replaced Chai's position to fight the big man. Uncle Prow and other male bar workers also joined the fight against members of the David gang. Here, it can be seen that the group from Uncle Prow and Kem is superior to the group from David. When they realized that they would lose, David's gang chose to retreat for the time being. Finally, Uncle Prow and the others were able to defend the bar. The next day, David and his gang came to see the Muay Thai teacher to protest. David felt very angry because he thought that his teacher had lied to him and taught him false martial arts. Just as David was about to hit his teacher, a man with gray hair appeared carrying alcohol. That man was Art, who just got out of prison. Art was thrown in prison for murdering Kem's father a few years ago. Seeing that his teacher was almost beaten by David, Art immediately defended his teacher and fought back against David. Meanwhile elsewhere, Kem and his friends were meeting Wang Pu at the temple they used to worship. The monk was angry with Kem and his friends for their reckless actions last night. The monk was sure that the matter of last night's fight would escalate further, so Kem and his friends had to prepare themselves. The monk then sent Kem to the other side of the island for special training to be taught by Physician Prong. Over the years, Dr. Prong and his assistant Pong have studied the Muay Thai martial arts that were passed down from generation to generation by their ancestors. Kem underwent intense training for several weeks. Although the time that Kem has is very short, but Kem has extraordinary skills so that he can easily master every martial art that is taught to him. On the last day of his training, Dr. Prong teaches Kem an ultimate martial art that can help him defeat every enemy he will face. The scene changes to the moment where David and his gang return to the bar with Art. They again caused a commotion in the place and forced Uncle Prow to give up the bar. Of course, Uncle Prow was unwilling and immediately warned David's gang to leave. But now, David and his gang will not back down anymore because they already have Art to help them. A fight between Art and Uncle Prow is unavoidable. All members of David's gang and Uncle Prow's workers are also fighting each other for control of the place. But Uncle Prow and the workers are unable to match the martial power of David and his gang. David and his gang even took Dao hostage and threatened to harm her if Uncle Prow didn't sell his bar. Uncle Prow finally had no other choice but to agree to the deal to save his daughter. When he handed over the certificate of ownership of the bar, it turned out that Uncle Prow had been scammed and only paid a very small amount of money. When Kem returned from his training, he saw Uncle Prow and all the bar workers sitting pensively in front of the temple. Kem just found out that Uncle Prow's bar has been taken by David and his gang. That night, Kem goes to the bar and talks nicely to David to return the bar to Uncle Prow. But Kem is ganged up by all of David's gang. Fortunately, Kem, with his greatly improved martial arts skills, managed to fight back and beat members of David's gang one by one. Kem could even fight 3 to 5 men at once. Soon, Kem's friends and assistant Pong arrive to help Kem. David and his gang immediately fight with Kem's friends. The moment Kem came face to face with Art, the two of them started to recognize each other. Kem immediately remembered his past when Art killed his father in front of his own eyes. Kem looked at Art with a look full of anger and resentment. Kem quickly launched an attack first and slammed Art. A fierce battle between Kem and Art finally ensued. In the middle of the fight, David fired a shot and kidnapped Dao. Kem tries to stop David, but David and his gang ignore him. Then, Kem and his friends go to confront David and his gang at the harbor, where the fight between Art and Kem again occurs. Meanwhile, Kem's friends try to save Dao and fight back against David and the rest of his gang. Although Kem's friends don't know much about martial arts, they still try to fight all members of David's gang. The battle between Kem and Art continues to a seaside full of shipwrecks. Art and 3 of his friends gang up on Kem alone, but Kem is still able to hold on and launch a counterattack. He is separated alone against some members of David's gang, while Dao, Duan, and Chai together fight some other members of David's gang. The funny thing is, Dao and Duan accidentally hit Chai, who was caught in the fishing net along with the other members of David's gang. After the fight, Chai, Dao, and Duan managed to reclaim Uncle Prow's bar ownership certificate. In a different place, Assistant Pong fights David and his gang members with his martial arts prowess. It turns out that Assistant Pong is a former gangster from Thailand. He can easily defeat David and his gang, even though he doesn't have any weapons. On the other hand, Kem, who had defeated Art's 3 friends, now had to face Art again and continue the fight. The fight between Kem and Art was very intense and epic, because both of them have strong martial skills. Art acts cunningly by hitting Kem with a wooden block. Art then hangs Kem's neck with iron chains until Kem goes limp. When Art almost killed Kem, Kem got up again and issued the ultimate move taught by Dr. Prong. Kem managed to defeat Art with just one hard blow to Art's neck. Kem then went to his friend's place. Bao, who at that time found Kem was weak, immediately helped Kem and brought him home. Kem and his friends have managed to reclaim Uncle Prao's bar. The next day, they together enjoyed the view of the twilight sky on the edge of the tourist beach. The film ends. The moral that can be taken from this film is never to give up on fighting to defend the precious things that we have.